Recently we have been, overwhelmed, for lack of a better word, by the grievous sins that are not just committed in the church, but especially by those who are especially trusted with the gospel of Jesus Christ, and to be leaders by example of what it means to be a Christian. And when I read this book of Deuteronomy, where it says that if we observe these things carefully, we will give evidence of our wisdom and intelligence to the nations, who will hear of all these statutes and say, this great nation is truly a wise and intelligent people. Right now, I can't say, I can't speak for all of us, but for myself, I don't feel like we're looking like that wise and intelligent people. When one part of the body suffers, all parts of the body suffer with it. And so today, we continue to suffer and join into the penance that is required to restore our nation, which is the church. Part of this problem is self-mastery. As Christians, we can never forget that it's not just an act of the mind or of the culture or of something that we've inherited, but that as Christians we are called to self-mastery, to a transformation of the inclinations of the heart. And if you think about the things you've mastered in your life, maybe you've taken up an instrument, or you've studied a language, perhaps a game that was difficult, each of which could have been difficult at first, and perhaps unwelcome. Sometimes your mom says, you're going to take piano lessons, and you're going to learn how to play piano, and it takes time, and it takes practice, and you don't want to do it. It's difficult. But eventually, because of their insistence, and perhaps because you start to see how it becomes easier with time and practice, what used to be hard and unwelcome becomes easy. It becomes part of your personality, part of your person. It becomes an expression of yourself. Those who master a musical instrument or master a language then want to speak that language or play that instrument. They want to express themselves in that way. And so what was once unpleasant becomes quite pleasant to us because we willed to do well at it and eventually master it. And so it must be with the truth that is proclaimed to us. In the psalm, there's an interesting phrase in there. It says, whoever thinks the truth in his heart. We don't usually think with our hearts, do we? We usually associate the heart with the will, with emotion and desire. But here, it links thinking with the heart. In another psalm, it says, incline my heart according to your will, or according to your testimonies, O God. And this is because we have to make the journey from knowing the things that our faith teaches to actually believing them to transform our hearts. When we begin to think with the heart, that means that the word that has been planted in us, as St. James said, has been moved from this part of the body down 16 inches, as we would say, into the heart. Of course, we're not talking about a physical heart, but the soul of the person. I have a funnel I made because I was too cheap to buy one. And I think this as an incline, right? So we're inclined to certain things. When God created us, our hearts were inclined to God. Our hearts were made for the other. We were not made for ourselves. And so any inclination or any thought that came into the heart was inclined outside of us, toward God, or toward our neighbor. Or if it was inclined towards ourselves, it was inclined towards ourselves only because it was for the common good of our neighbors. So we have this image of ourselves in the center, but all of our inclinations outward from ourselves. This is an example of when our intellect governed our will. The intellect and the will were not imposed or inverted. They were oriented the way God wanted them to be. When we sinned, we inverted that funnel. And every thought, every inclination was now directed to the self. Not for the good of the other, and not back to God, who created us. And it shows how incredibly malicious that first sin must have been. Because if God created us this way, where we were not inclined towards the self, it would have taken effort for humanity to actually push against their natural inclination toward God and towards others, and sin, and to fall into that pit. So their wills made an act of true malice. Now we have the opposite problem. Going up the incline toward God and towards the other is now more difficult for us. But through prayer, faith, practice, and obedience, but mostly by the grace of God, and only in the grace of God, can we help restore that funnel and those inclinations back to the way God intended them to be. Now, they may not all go that way all at once, but through perseverance in faith, each and every inclination can be restored to the way God intended it to be. So self-mastery comes by means of faith. And as we look at the Word of God from James, we hear it. And in our heads, we must allow it to reach us and convert our hearts in order to make us doers of the Word. We can easily be hearers of the Word. We can even give lip service to it. We can even reiterate it. We can learn it, and we can speak about it, much like the scribes and Pharisees could. But they weren't doing what they should be doing. And so in order for us to become true doers of the Word, that Word has to be planted in us and help us master our inclinations. There is also this idea, then, that maybe some of our inclinations aren't as evil or as bad as others. And true, we do have teachings in the church of mortal and venial sins, and the sins that have been revealed recently too are very grievous and grave things. But let me leave you with this thought. Every inclination that goes against God, that we cooperate with, every sin has a price. I'd like to suggest there is no small sin for this one reason. Every sin required atonement. And that atonement is in the blood of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who was put to death for our sake. So no sin can be small, which requires that blood to cleanse it and to abolish it. Maybe we feel we can't pray away our evil inclinations. Some may be harder than others. But every single one needs the blood of Christ to purify and restore it. Maybe I can't pray it away. Maybe I'll struggle with an inclination for my whole life. But I can have the faith to not cooperate with that inclination. I can have the faith to pray through it and persevere against it, even until the end, so that one might have that reward that was promised to us.